नमस्ते अस्वायुषाय नाथाय कृष्णवे उभाभ्यामुदते नमो बाहुभ्यां प्रवधन्वने परिते तन्वनो येति तस्मान् गृणस्तु विश्वतः असो यजिषुचिस्तपाले अस्मन्निषेधितम् नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकालाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमो हिरण्यवाहवे सेनान्ये शान्तपतये नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यः पशूनां पतये नमो नमः तस्मिञ्चराय त्रिदेवते पतीनां पतये नमो नमो वक्रताय विद्यादिनेन्द्राणां पतये नमो नमो हरिकेशाय भवेदिने पुष्टानां पतये नमो नमो भवस्यये जगतां पतये नमो नमो रुद्राय तथाविने क्षेत्राणां पतये नमो नमः सूताय हन्त्याय वनानां पतये नमो नमो रोहिताय पतये वृक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो मन्त्रिणे वाणिजाय कक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो भुवन्तये वालिमत्कृताय औषधीनां पतये नमो नमः उच्चैर्घोषाय क्रन्दयते मत्तीनां पतये नमो नमः कृष्णवेदाय तापते सत्त्वनां पतये नमः नमः सहवानाय नित्यादिन आव्यादिनेनां पतये नमो नमः ककुभाय निषङ्गिने सेनानां पतये नमो नमो निषङ्गिन यजुशिवते तस्कराणां पतये नमो नमो वञ्चते परिवञ्चते सायूनां पतये नमो नमो निषेधवे परिसमायासंज्ञानां पतये नमो नमः श्रीकाव्यस्थो इहागुण्डस्रो वष्णतां पतये नमो नमो तिमद्रो नक्तञ्चरस्य प्रगन्तानां पतये नमो नमः वष्णेशिने गिरिजराज मुकुन्दानां पतये नमो नमः यशवद्यो धन्वाव्यस्य वो नमो नमः आसङ्गाने प्रतिदधाने यस्य वो नमो नमः आगच्छत्यो विसृजत्यस्य वो नमो नमोऽस्यत्रो विद्यत्यस्य वो नमो नमः आसेने यस्य जाने यस्य वो नमो नमः स्वभक्तो जात्यस्य वो नमो नमः त्यक्तस्तो जावत्यस्य वो नमो नमः स्वभाव्यस्वभावदित्यस्य वो नमो नमो अश्रेभ्यो स्वपदित्यस्य वो नमः नमः व्याधिनेभ्यो विविध्यन्ते यस्य वो नमो नमः उदनाभ्यस्य गम्भीर्यस्य वो नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यो वृक्षपदित्यस्य वो नमो नमो प्राणेभ्यो प्राणपदित्यस्य वो नमो नमो गणेभ्यो गणपतित्यस्य वो नमो नमो विरोधेभ्यो विश्वरोधेभ्यस्य वो नमो नमो महत्याः शुल्लकेभ्यस्य वो नमो नमो रथेभ्यो रथेभ्यस्य वो नमो नमो रथेभ्यो रथपतिभ्यस्य वो नमो नमस्ते नामस्ते नानस्य वो नमो नमः क्षत्रभ्यः सङ्ग्रहेभ्यस्य वो नमो नमः चक्षभ्यो रथकारेभ्यस्य वो नमो नमः कुलालेभ्यः कर्मालेभ्यः Namo Bhavaya Rudraya Janamah Sarvaya Javasupataya Janabode Nakdevaya Jasadikantaya Janamah Kavatile Sapyaptaya Saya Janamah Sahasraya Jasadhanmane Janavogirisaya Jasadikantaya Janavogirisaya Jatamate Janavo Rasvaya Javamanaya Janamo Priyate Samarite Kate Janamo Naya Jadamprastane Janamo Akriyaya Jamradhavaya Janama Asave Sadiraya Janamasti Kriyaya Jasidyaya Janama Kuryaya Javastanyaya Janama Prodhasyaya Jasdipyaya Namo Jekaya Jagadekaya Janama Purvadaya Jamarajaya Janamo Madhyavaya Javakalpaya Janamo Jaganyaya Javapriyaya Janama Srotyaya Jamradisanyaya Janamo Janyaya Jakshemyaya Janama Purvanyaya Jakalyaya Janama Srotyaya Javasanyaya Janamo Vanyaya Jagakshaya Janama Sravaya Japradesravaya Janama Asurenaya Jasurasaya Janama Suraya Javahindare Janamo Margane Javadutine Janamo Pilpine Jagavachane Janama Srutaya Jasrutadenaya Navadam Japyaya Jahanandhyaya Janamo Jattare Yaptamajaya Janamo Dukaya Japrayaya Janamo Nirangane Chetasrimate Janama Eshenave Nakashire Janama Mayudaya Jasukhanmane Janama Srutyaya Javatyaya Janama Adyaya Janipyaya Janamastutyaya Janarasyaya Janamo Nadyaya Javaisantaya Janamastupyaya Javatyaya Janamo Vasyaya Javasyaya Janamo Vedyaya Javidyutyaya Janamatindrayaya Janapyaya Janamo Vasyaya Janendriyaya Janamo Vasyaya Javasuvaya Jan Namasomaya Rudraya Janamasamraya Jarunaya Janamasanghaya Javasupataya Janamarudraya Javimaya Janamo Agre Mataya Chadure Mataya Janamo Ante Jani Jate Janamo Rikhe Adike Namas Kalaya Namasambhave Javayo Bhave Janamasankaraya Javayat Kalaya Janamassivaya Jadivadaraya Janamasyejaya Jagoryaya Janama Aryaya Javaryaya Janama Pracharanaya Sotaranaya Janama Adharyaya Jalasyaya Janamasyaya Javenyaya Janamassikasyaya Japrabhasyaya Jaya Japrabhasyaya Janamassikam Saranaya Janamakkavantile Javulastage Janamamorsyaya Jakrityaya Janamastansyaya Jagesyaya Janamakkhasyaya Jagappareshvaya Janamo Sarishaya Janipeshvaya Janamakkvagum Yaya Janamassrutyaya Jaharinyaya Janamano Yaya Jolapyaya Janamakuryaya Jasurmyaya Janamapanyaya Javannadasyaya Janamo Bhagavanaya Jame Janama Arkilale Japrakilale Janamo Akkilale Nadevana Mamrutaye Yo Namo Vichenage Yo Namo Vijamvatye Yo Nama Alare
Good morning to all of you and good evening to the Indian participants who are joining with us. We have more than 100 people registered for this webinar. We are very, very fortunate to have Pandit Neil Sahil Parmeswar, located in Central Valley, Pennsylvania, in USA. We are fortunate to have such a wonderful teacher, a disciple, and highly learned scholar in Vedic sciences, particularly healing the mind and body through Vedic knowledge. Myself, Dr. Shekhar Anambotla, founder and president of Association of Ayurveda Professionals of North America, Global Ayurveda Academy, Global Ayurveda Conferences, and Dosha Botanicals and Ayurveda Wellness Center in Pennsylvania. Practicing Ayurvedic medicine more than 30 years. Completed my postgraduate studies in the Gujarat Ayurveda University for 9-year medical school. So here, we'd like to invite our beloved teacher, Pandit Neil Sahil Parmeswar. He will be giving us the importance of a mind-body healing through Vedic recitations like mantras. We'll be sharing some of the PowerPoint presentation along with the presentation. In this presentation, it will be goes for 1 hour presentation. We'll be discussing our today's webinar on the mantra cikitsa. Mantra cikitsa was a lost treasure of knowledge in the Vedic sciences, particularly in Ayurveda. Not many Ayurvedic students, Ayurvedic graduates, and colleges, they don't teach the mantra cikitsa. Mantra cikitsa has given an importance in the temples where you can go and the priest is performing this mantra cikitsa. All the recitations, these mantras, and how they are effective on the mind-body balance. And at the same time, it also helps a powerful healing. So I would like to give one example here. One of my patient, she was delivering the baby. When she was pregnant, she was listening to the Vishnu Sahasranama. And Vishnu Sahasranama is a recitation of 1008 times of a recitation of the Vishnu, Lord Vishnu. Is an incarnation of Dhanvantari. So, when she was listening to this presentation, the chantings every day, when she went to the hospital, there she is missing the recitation of the chanting. The baby was born, his heart is not regulated. The hospital doctors, nurses, and everybody surprised that why we are not able to control his heart rate. The baby is born. And mom is also not happy. Then immediately they brought the chanting of the recitation of the Vishnu Sahasranama. As soon as started, the heart regulated. They were surprised to see this is the real fact is happened in Pennsylvania, one of my patients. So the power of mantra, power of chanting has a great impact on health and wellness. Not only that, there's a lot of evidences are there we can share with you. The clinical evidences is a very important thing, and this can be performed without any legal implications, without touching any person. And like a Reiki healing, pranic healing, energy healing, and these recitations are very powerful. We can call it the Vedic vibration technology. Vedic vibration technology. Through the Vedic vibration technology, we can bring this wonderful knowledge to everyone. And we would like to have this knowledge shared with you with these various wonderful courses through the Global Ayurveda Academy. Our plan to start Mantra Cikitsa in the 3 levels: beginner's level and intermediate level, and third one is advanced level. So Panditji, we were discussing this point, bringing this point of a first basic level is 27 hours of training, and intermediate level 54 hours of training, and advanced level is 108 numbers of hours of training. Totally about various levels of training will be given. Along with that, we are also planning to do, after completing of this Mantra Cikitsa, then we will go to the Yantra Cikitsa. Then after the Tantra Cikitsa, these are the various aspects of the Vedic literature, Vedic knowledge will be shared through the Zoom. People can participate around the globe. That way they can stay in the home. They can chant with the Panditji how the recitations are happening, and he will work with you closely through the Zoom, which you can practice it. Their home assignments and everything will be given, and quizzes will be there. After that, you will get certified in the Mantra Cikitsa beginners level, intermediate level, and advanced level. Similar way, Yantra Cikitsa and Tantra Cikitsa. And also we are going to go into the advanced level of Yajna Cikitsa, Yajnas, how the performances, what are the things basically performing these things, and Mudra Cikitsa. Mudras, there is several mudras are there. That is also Mudra Cikitsa, and gestures, which is called gestures and postures like that. Like a Buddha is doing chin mudra, those type of mudras. Along with the Dhyana Cikitsa is a meditation, is a wonderful way of learning of meditation techniques. And finally, it comes with the Yoga Cikitsa, mind-body coordination. So these advanced levels of trainings will bring you to a doctoral level program in the Vedic sciences. Our goal is to bring you Doctor of Vedic Sciences. Doctor of Vedic Sciences will have recitations. There will be some participation in the homas, yajnas, and everything will be performing. And Panditji is blessed to have such a tremendous experience and knowledge in the early ages. And our goal is to establish one ashram here in Central Valley. In future, you will be having a wonderful experience, a hands-on experience with participating with the Panditji in person, meeting with him and enjoying the various mantras, yajnas, yantras, everything. You will be having a practical training will be offered every year once the COVID situation is clears up, and all the parts of the world people can participate into the Central Valley of Pennsylvania. Our goal to establish a wonderful Vedic Science Institute where we will have a treasure of knowledge will be there. With due respect, I would like to invite Pandit Neil Sahil Parmeswar to join with us. And Panditji, welcome.
Thank you, Doctor. I'll start with a short mantra. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Harihi Om Dhruvante Raja Varuno Dhruvandevo Brihaspatihi Dhruvanta Indrashchagnischa Rashram Dharayatam Dhruvam Parvata Iva Vichachalihi Indra Ihe Iveha Dhruvastishta Iha Rashramudharaya Abhitishta Vradanyadaha Adhare Santu Shatravaha Indra Iva Vritrahātishta Sumahurthostu Supratishthitamastu Vidhyasmahavyair Namasopasadya Mitram Devam Mitradheyanno Astu Anuradhan Havisha Vardhayantaha Shatam Jivema Sharadasaviraha. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Om Mahaganadhipataye Namaha Om Mahasaraswate Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you, Doctor. So yes, let me share my screen. Or Doctor, if you want to share.
Yeah, I can share.
So what is mantra? What is mantra? See, in the Vedic system of worship and healing, we have three techniques. It's a three-pronged approach to worship and healing in the Vedic system. We have mantra, which works through sound. Mantra works through the mental faculty. Man in Sanskrit, manasa means mind, right? We know this. Manasa means mind. It works through the mental faculty. It sublimates the process of the mental faculty. It sublimates thinking through sound. It works through sound. So the sound, the energy of the sound sublimates the process, the mental processes, both consciously and subconsciously. It's related to sattva guna. Of the three gunas, it's related to sattva guna. We have tantra, which works through the sublimation of the physical processes. It works through experience. So tantra is something that's quite misunderstood in today's day and age. But actually what it is the sublimation of physical processes, physical activities that we do on a day-to-day basis, like eating, like sex, like experiencing nature, all of the things, experiencing the five senses, all of the things that happen through the physical faculty, we learn to sublimate those through experience. It's related to tamoguna. And then finally, yantra is the use of forms, patterns, diagrams, or objects. We have yantras, right? I don't know, many of you may have heard of the Sri Yantra. We have the Shatkona Yantra, which looks like the Star of David in Judaism as well. It's the same thing, which is related to a different deity, Muruga. The Sri Yantra is related to the Devi. We have yantras for Shiva and Parvati and Ganesha. We have all kinds of yantras, right? This is the sublimation of the senses through the ritual of worshiping the divine in that object, in that pattern, in that geometric diagram. This is related to Rajoguna. So just a brief introduction there to Tantra and Yantra, but today's focus will be mantra. So like I said, mantra, man in Sanskrit means manasa, means mind. In Sanskrit, mind, or in the Vedic system rather, mind is not just the brain. It's not just the physical brain. We have what's called the Pancha Kosha, right? In the Vedic system, which is the 5 sheets of our being, of our being as it is on this earth. We have the Annamaya Kosha, which is literally means the sheath which is made of food, Annam, Annamaya Kosha. We have the Pranamaya Kosha, which is the sheath which is made of prana, the vital energies on which we exist through the breath specifically. The third is Manomaya Kosha. So this is where mantra is working through. Manomaya Kosha literally means mental sheath, mental body. So we don't say that thoughts, memories, subconscious tendencies are stored just in the mind, in the brain, in the physical brain. They're stored throughout the entire body, throughout the entire sheath. In the Buddhist tradition, they actually teach this as a form of meditation. The Buddha used to teach this as a form of meditation, where you can observe certain physical phenomenon in your body, whether it's a discomfort in your hip or a tightness in your chest, or maybe a shooting pain in your ankle. You can follow that feeling all the way back to its cause, and you can find what is the mental or subconscious tendency or even memory or trauma which is driving that feeling. And through the observation of that, you can learn to sublimate that feeling. So this is something that's taught not just in the Vedic traditions, but in other traditions as well. So I said, like I said, mantra works through sound. What is the importance of sound, and specifically Sanskrit? Why Sanskrit mantras? Why couldn't we use English mantras, let's say, in today's day and age? Sanskrit is an energy language. It's not a language that works like modern languages do today. Modern languages today, when I'm speaking to you now, for example, in English, it invokes thought, right? If I tell you tree, the word tree in English, it invokes an image or a thought or a memory of a tree that you've seen before, right? Whereas Sanskrit is an energy language. Vriksha, the word for tree in Sanskrit, there are many words actually for the many different types of trees. It's not just one word, but vriksha is a general term which is used for the form of the tree. It's not just invoking a memory of something you've seen, it's actually transmitting a vibration and energy of what specifically that object is. So vriksha, when the rishis, when they reveal this Deva Bhasha, it's called Deva Bhasha in Sanskrit. Deva Bhasha means language of the Devas, language of the gods. When this was revealed to the rishis, it wasn't revealed just as a sound, it was actually revealed as a vibration. So they saw a specific tree, for example, and the vibration which that tree was giving off, they experienced that, and that became the sound vriksha. Does this make sense? So we have to understand that Sanskrit doesn't work through the mental faculty. It works on a level deeper than that, but it sublimates thinking rather than invoking thought. This is an important distinction. This is not true, by the way, only of Sanskrit. Okay, there were many ancient languages before, many of which that are now dead languages, which also were the same. If you look at the teachings of Christ in Aramaic, Aramaic was also an energy language. If you look at the original classical Arabic that was used in the time of Muhammad, who revealed the Quran, that also was an energy language. Hebrew, if you go way back, the ancient Latin and ancient Greek, which was there, these were also energy language. They also worked through the vibration of existence. Because see, in the Vedas, we say, we worship everything. In today's day and age, the idea of Hinduism has been somewhat limited, right? We have deities which are images. So we have Ganapati, who has an elephant face and a big body and a big belly. And we say this is Ganapati. But in the Vedic way of thinking, Ganapati is not limited to that physical form. Ganapati, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, is an energy which can manifest in a physical way, in the image that we have in temples and on our walls and such, right? But he is Ganapati as the divine, is not limited to that image. So the Vedas are actually worship of all of creation. If you look at the Vedas, similar to how the indigenous people, for example, in the Americas used to worship, they worshipped all of nature, all of creation. Everything to them was sacred. Every single atom of creation was sacred. So it's the same way in the Vedas. We have suktams in the Vedas, hymns in the Vedas to things like the night, Ratri Suktam. We have hymns to the color blue, Nila Suktam, which is the blue of the sky. We have hymns to all aspects of creation that exist in this material universe. They've praised and worshipped all of it as a manifestation of the divine. So this is an important thing to remember, that we're not just talking about, when we speak of Sanskrit and we speak of the Vedas, we're not talking about a specific image of a deity, though that is also part of it. We're talking about something beyond that, the energy which exists beyond that. I'll give you an example too of the difference between sort of invoking thought and sublimating thinking. So in modern language today, we have the Lord's Prayer. In the Christian tradition, they recite the Lord's Prayer, usually in English, right? So, Our Father, art thou in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Let thy will prevail on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us of our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. And subject us not to the trials, but deliver us from the evil one. Amen. This is the Lord's Prayer in English, as it's been translated in English. But now listen to how Christ chanted the Lord's Prayer. And this is practiced in very few churches left now that practice this in the Middle East region, Assyrian Christian churches. But listen to how it sounds when Christ originally chanted. Abundashmaya netkadashmach titamalgodach niwezabyanach aikana dashmaya fara haulan lachmasukan yomana oshviklan choben aikana defkanan shikan lachayavin ulatela lanesyona ila bashan min bisham iddil de lochem al chota وخيلا تشبخ العالم الأمين آمين. So if you can feel the difference in energy between the two, right? One, when you recite the Lord's Prayer in English, it's good. It's a good prayer. It's invoking certain images. It's invoking a thought of gratitude. But when you recite it in the original Aramaic way with the intonation, with the correct syllable pronunciation, it's doing a whole different thing, right? And in fact, this is how Yeshua, Jesus Christ, used to also heal people. One of his tools for healing was the chanting, the recitation of the mantras in the original Aramaic, which is also, like I said, like Sanskrit, an energy language. This is true in Arabic as well. We have the mantra La ilaha illallah, which was revealed by Muhammad in the Quran, right? The Sufis actually still practice in this way, but they repeat the mantra as a japa, as a repetition, like we have japa mantra in Sanskrit also in the Vedas. Just like we say Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Like that, we'll do 27 times, 54 times, 108 times, 1008 times, right? The Sufis also practice still the repetition of the La ilaha illallah mantra in a specific intonation over and over again with the use of breath, which is what we call pranayama in the yogic way, right? We say, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah. We continue this repetition over and over, right? So this is another form of mantra. So it's not limited to the Vedic way. But in the Vedas, one of the special things is that all of, like I said, all of creation is worshipped through the practice of mantra. Yeah, we can go to the next slide, Doctor. So in Sanskrit, the language itself, so when we think of mantra, what does it specifically mean? There are different levels of mantras actually in the Vedic way of teaching, and in Sanskrit, in the Sanskrit language. So we call actually the Sanskrit alphabet itself as Sanskrita varna mala. So that literally means a garland of sound. So the way Panini, who revealed the Sanskrit alphabet, who was a great sage, and we're eternally grateful to him for gracing us with this method. The way he revealed it is that each one of the syllables actually in Sanskrit relates to a Shiva Tattvam, a Tattvam of an element of creation. So for example, Ram, the letter Bija Ra, Ram, is related to Agni, to fire. That letter itself contains the essence of fire within it. In fact, one of the ways of practicing mantra in both the Hindu Vedic tradition and in the Buddhist tradition is that they will meditate just on the letter, which is what we call the bija akshara in Sanskrit. They'll just meditate Ram, 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 Ram. And if you've ever heard the stories of these Buddhist monks who are able to raise their body temperature to 100 and 200 and 304, and they go live in the Himalayas in freezing temperatures throughout the year, but they somehow are able to raise the body temperature, it's through the meditation on this specific syllable, Ram, which contains all of the essence of Agni, of fire within it. We have Vam for Varuna, who is the deity of water. Vam, the syllable Vam contains the entire essence of what we call water within it. We have the syllable for death, Mam, Mam, Mam Yamaya Namaha, Mam, Mam. This Mam in itself contains the entire essence of what we call as death or dissolution. Lam, we have Lam for the earth. Lam, Lam, Lam contains the entire essence of what we call earth or Prithivi. So like this, each one of the syllables, come, come, gum, gum, each one of them has an essence which is contained within it. So they're not just like in English A, B, C, D. They're not just a means to create words. They are actually in and of itself an end to experience all of creation and all of reality. Just by meditating on the Varnamala, on the Sanskrita Varnamala, on the Bijaksharas, you can experience all of creation. And this is how Panini used to teach his students as well, how to experience the different tattvams, the different elements within that exist within creation by the use of just these syllables. You don't have to go even beyond this. I mean, the Vedas go even more into chanting and intonation, but this in and of itself also is complete. That's one of the special things about the Sanskrit system, is that there are different levels. There's the Bija Aksharas, then there's the Bija Mantras, then there's the Mula Mantras, then there's big Vedic Suktams, which are much longer. The Bija Aksharas, like I said here, are just a single syllable. The Bija Mantras are a single syllable with a little extension on the end. So for example, if we take Ganapati, if we take the deity Ganesha, the Bijakshara for Ganesha is Gam. Gam contains the entire essence of what Ganapati is. If you keep chanting Gam, 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 eventually you will get to an experience of what we call Ganapati, right? Because that's ultimately what all the mantra leads you to. It's not a mental image, it's an experience of what is it we call Ganapati. Not just the image we see on the wall, that too maybe, but not just that, because Ganapati is more than, he's not limited to an image, you see. He's much more than this. So if you keep meditating gum on just the Bijakshara, you can find Ganapati in that way. Then there's a Bija mantra, which we have for Ganapati. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. This mantra is a little bit longer form of worship to Ganapati. It's translated loosely, literally as I bow to Ganapati. The translations in English for these Sanskrit words and mantras are not very precise because, like I said, English is invoking a thought. The Sanskrit mantra is doing more than that. The Sanskrit mantra is actually invoking the divine energy, which is Ganapati. So when you say Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, you're not just creating an image of Ganapati in your mind, you're actually invoking the energy of the deity who is Ganapati, which is Ganapati, into yourself and into the surrounding. But this is called the Bija mantra. You see, it's slightly longer. We had Gam, which is the Bija Akshara. And we have Gam Ganapataye Namaha, which is the Bija mantra. Then we have a Mula mantra. Mula in Sanskrit means root. So the Mula mantra is a little bit longer. Oftentimes the Mula mantras will include many Bijaksharas. So for Ganapati we have Om, Shrim, Hrim, Klim, Glaum, Gam, Ganapataye Vara Varada Sarvajanam Me Vasamanaya Swaha. So this is one of the Mula mantras for Ganapati, which we use actually in the offering of the fire ceremony, of the Agnihotra, of the Homam or the Yagyam, the offering of the mantra into the fire ceremony, into the fire. We use this mantra to pray to Ganapati often. So you see, this mantra is a little bit longer. It includes multiple bijam, Shrim, Hrim, Klim, Glaum, Gam. It includes all of these bijas. Shrim, Hrim, Klim are often bija mantras which are used for worship of the Devi, of the feminine divine. But here we use them for worship of Ganapati also. Because like I said, the energy of Ganapati is not limited to one thing. He is all of creation. Ganapati is the entire creation. So all aspects of creation, masculine, feminine, savory, unsavory, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, all of them exist within Ganapati. In the Ganapati Atharva Shirsham, we say, Tam Brahmastam Vishnustam Rudrastam Indrastam Agnistam Vayustam Suryastam Chandramastam Brahma Bhor Bhuvassu Varun. This is what it says in one of the hymns to Ganapati. Tam Brahma, you are Brahma, you are Vishnu, you are Rudra Shiva, you are Indra, the god, the king of the gods, Indra, who is closely tied to the mental processes, the mental faculty. You are Agni, the fire. You are the sun. You are the moon. Tvam Brahm Bhur Bhuvas Suvaram. You are Bhur, Bhuvaha, and Suvaha, all the three realms, all of creation. So you see, in this way, the mantras we use for Ganapati will reveal the secret, which is Ganapati, which is that Ganapati is all of creation, not limited to one thing. So the Mula mantra for Ganapati has Shrim, Hrim, Klim, Glaum, Gam, 5 Bijaksharas there, plus the rest of the mantra. Ganapate Gam, Ganapate Vara Varada Sarvajanam Me Vasamanaya Swaha. So it has more, sort of a more elaborate thing there, right, than just the Bijakshara or the Bija mantra. Bija means seed in Sanskrit. So it's like you're starting with a small seed. Then your seed sort of germinates with the Bija mantra. Then Mula mantra, it starts to put roots. And then finally, you have these long suktams for Ganapati, for example, for each deity. But in the Vedas, we have suktam. Suktam means hymn. So we have long hymns for Ganapati. Some are maybe 40, 50 lines long, maybe from anywhere from 10 to hundreds or thousands of lines long. We have hymns for Ganapati. So one of the hymns for Ganapati, which is longer, which is Gananantva Ganapati Gum Havamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspatanah Shrinmannodebhissida Sadanam Om Mahaganadhipataye Namaha. So this is a longer one of the hymns for Ganapati. This is actually one of the shorter hymns for Ganapati. We use this, generally we use this for the opening of any prayer ceremony, of any fire ceremony we're doing. We'll use this first. We'll use this mantra first because we always invoke Ganapati first, right? Ganapati is said to be the Lord of obstacles. So he helps to remove obstacles when necessary. He also helps to place obstacles when necessary, because sometimes in our pursuits as human beings, we also need obstacles placed, you see, not just always removed. Sometimes maybe we need to be hindered in our deeds or intention or action for certain purposes. So we use this longer prayer to Ganapati to invoke Ganapati. This is one of the parts of one of the suktams, Ganesha Suktam from the Rig Veda, Ganapati Suktam from the Rig Veda. So we use this mantra to invoke Ganapati as well. So as I've described here now, we have different levels. We have the Bija Akshara, which is a single syllable. We have the Bija Mantra, which is a few more syllables. We have the Mula Mantra, which is even more syllables. And then we have full suktams and hymns, which are many, many more syllables. The Bija Akshara, like I said, contains the entire essence of Ganapati within it. The reason why we have these different levels of mantras is because as we get more advanced in the science of realizing God, and in the science of healing specifically too, this is very applicable for healing. The longer mantras affect more areas of the being, you can say, of the physical being, of the mental being, and of the consciousness. So these longer mantras, the Gananantva Ganapati Gum, has many of these syllables in it, right? It has Ga, Na, Twa, it has Ma, it has all these syllables here, right? So it's just like I said, each one of these syllables is invoking an energy. When you chant these longer suktams, these longer prayers, it's invoking all different kinds of energies, right? It's invoking, within that, it's invoking Gam, which is in the longer mantra, Gam, Gananantva, it's invoking Gam. It's invoking Nam, which is a Namaskaram, which is we say Namaste, right? In Sanskrit, what do we say when we greet someone? Namaste, right? So Nam is the Bija mantra for the salutation of Namaste. Namaste means, it's literally translated sometimes to I see you or I bow to you. What it actually means is I am one with your being. I bow to you as an extension of myself. This is what it means, because in the Vedas in Sanskrit, we're taught all of this creation is one thing. We perceive it as separate. Ekam sat vipraha bahuda vadanti, it says in the Vedas. All of creation is one thing, only our perception is different, you see. So namaste literally means that. So nam, gana, nan, when we say ga, we invoke the gam bijam. When we say na, we invoke the namaskara, the namaste bijam. Then we have mam, we invoke yama. So when we chant these longer suktams, we're invoking more and more of the deities, while still offering our prayer specifically to Ganapati. This is how the rishis have devised it. You see, they were actually very highly intelligent, obviously, but also very scientific. They were mathematicians almost. They knew how to place together pieces of the puzzle. so that we can invoke different energies as necessary at different times, right? You chant certain mantras in the morning. You chant to invoke specific energies. You chant some mantras in the evening to invoke specific energies. You chant certain mantras when you're bathing. You chant certain mantras when you're in the bathroom using the toilet. Nothing was not sacred to them. Everything to them was sacred. Every process that we go through in life was sacred. Whether even things today we consider unholy, to them it was holy. The process of death, we have elaborate death rituals in the Vedic system, because the transition from one body into the next realm, from the body into the next realm, and then eventually maybe if you have to into the next body, was sacred to them. So that's why this death ritual is a very elaborate ritual to make sure that soul transitions well. Marriage was sacred to them. Obviously, we have very elaborate marriage rituals. Marriage is the combination of two souls as one. So this is a very important thing in the Vedic system. And the mantras and the rituals are elaborate for this, because it was sacred to them for that process to happen properly. So like I said, we have mantras for bathing, we have mantras for marriage, we have mantras for death, we have mantras for using the bathroom, we have mantras for every aspect of our daily lives, plus every aspect of creation, plus everything that's going on in the material universe, we have mantras for this. So that's what the Vedas are. We can go to the next slide, and that's the power of Sanskrit. So how do we practice mantra? There are different ways of practicing mantra. Like I mentioned before, japa is a common way, which is the meditative repetition of the mantra. Again, we have Ganapati. So we have the different levels of mantra for Ganapati. So starting with the Bij Akshara, Gam. We can just keep repeating this actually. Gam, Gam, Gum, 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 Gum. You can just keep repeating this however many times, to 108 times, 1008 times, with the mala, sometimes with the rosary, sometimes we do it, right? We can just keep repeating this. And this itself is healing. We don't need anything more than this actually. This itself is complete, and this itself is very healing to the system. Or we can use the next level, Bija mantra, which is Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. We can keep repeating this also 108 times, however many times. You can keep repeating it. Similarly, for the Mula mantra, we can also do the same, and even for the suktams, we can do the same. We can repeat those suktams even 108 times in a row, 1008 times. They do this sometimes in temples for consecration rituals in the temple. They'll sometimes repeat certain mantras over and over many times. Abhisheka is another way we can practice mantra. This includes the practice of the mantra while we bathe the deity with certain substances. So they do this in temples, for consecration of temples, and for daily worship in temples also they do this. So if you have a small Ganapati, either Vigraham, small idol icon, you can take water or milk and you can keep pouring that over Ganapati, and you can repeat the mantra. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. In this way, you're healing yourself internally. It's like you're bathing away all the karmas. Ganapatis, through the act of offering the milk or the honey or the water to Ganapati to bathe him, it's like you're cleansing your own inner channels for yourself, right? In the meantime, you're also energizing that idol that's there with the sound and with the act of offering the liquid for bathing. And then finally, we have Homa, and this is probably the most powerful way. This is the most powerful way, which they say in the Vedas. They say one This homa means offering into the sacred fire. They say one time offering the mantra into the sacred fire is like 10 times of doing japa, meditative repetition. This is what the rishis say in the Vedas. So one time you say Om Gam Ganapataye Swaha. When we offer to the fire with ghee, we have to change from Namaha to Swaha. Agni accepts the mantra when we say Swaha at the end. So we say Om Gam Ganapataye Namah Swaha, or Om Gam Ganapataye Swaha. So when we offer into fire in this way, one time you offer, it's like 10 times of doing Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. So it's very powerful to offer the mantras into the sacred fire. And as Doctor mentioned before, this is what we call yagya, or homa, or agnihotra. There are different names for it, and slight nuances to each type of offering to the fire. But this is the process of offering to the fire is very, very powerful. It's like the fire, Agni, it's the opening verse of the Rig Veda says, Agni is the greatest of all the purohits, of all the priests. He takes our prayers and conveys them to the inner realms, to the devas, better than any priest can. So this is why offering to Agni opens a channel to the inner realms, is what they mean by that. He opens a channel to the inner realms. So when we offer into the fire, that mantra is going directly to the inner realms. And is being offered directly at the feet of the devas. So this is why offering into the sacred fire is very useful and can be very effective. And simultaneously, Agni is burning away all our karmas, all the muck which we have gathered over time, which block our ability to perceive the divine. He's clearing all that for us. Yeah, so we can go to the next slide. That's it. So yeah, as Doctor mentioned at the top, we want to offer this mantra cikitsa course, okay? So we have these different levels, and I'm sure we'll be sharing more information about this in the future. But the goal here is to show how mantra can be used for healing ourselves internally, and in turn healing others also, right? As Doctor said, we have all kinds of healing techniques we use. We have obviously the whole system of Ayurveda is meant for that, but we have Reiki, we have pranic healing now, energy healing, all kinds of people use this crystal bowls, singing bowls, you know, they use that for healing also. So sound is used for healing in many ways. Mantra is another way where you can use sound for healing. So we'd like to offer this to people so that we can use a more integrated approach for healing, right? Because as Doctor also said, the rishis have handed down these great sciences for us to use effectively in our daily lives, both for cleansing ourselves and for cleansing others. So mantra cikitsa is one way which we can use sound for healing. So there are different levels here. You can see we'll start with the introduction to the Vedas and the concepts of mantras, an expansion of what we talked about today with the varnamala, with the bija aksharas, the seed sounds, with the bija mantras, and then expand on that as we go. But the idea is, the first thing they teach you if you go to any Veda Pathshala is they teach you the story of Nachiketa. It's from the Kathopanishad. If you go to any Veda Pathshala, this is the first thing they teach you. What is the story of Nachiketa? Nachiketa is cursed to death by his father. He wronged his father. His father got angry and he's cursed to death. So he's sitting, he goes to Yama's door, the Lord of Death. He goes there. But Yama is not there. Yama is not there for 3 days. So Nachiketa has to wait and wait and wait. So Yama, when he comes after 3 days, feels very bad. And he says, listen, I'm sorry I made you wait. It was very wrong of me. I'll give you 3 boons. You ask me any 3 things, I'll give them to you since I made you wait. So first one, Nachiketa says, okay, fine. First one, have my father forgive me. I'd like for him to forgive me. I ask for his forgiveness. So Yama says that. Second one, Nachiketa says, can you teach me the secret of the sacrificial fire, of the yajna? How does that process work? Everybody's offering yajnas all the time. In those times, in the Vedic times, everybody was offering yajnas all the time. How does it work? So Yamas has done. He teaches him how the yajna works. Finally, Nachiketa says, you know, everybody talks about death. What exactly is death? What happens when you die? What happens when you have to cross over? Everybody keeps talking about this death, death. We mention this everywhere. There's life and then there's death, and we have this line. What does it mean? I want to understand what is it. Yama says, please don't ask this one. Ask anything but this. I'll give you fame. I'll give you wealth. I'll give you women. I'll give you whatever you want. I'll give you all the pleasures of material life. But this one, please don't ask me. This one is difficult. You ask anything else. But Nachiketa is insistent. He says, no, I must know this. This is, you said any three boons. This I'm asking, I must know this. You must fulfill it. You said I could ask anything. So Yama, after he's very insistent, Yama finally comes and says, okay, since you're so insistent, you come sit with me, sit in my lap. And he says, you must know that you can only understand what is death through the experience of death. So that's when Nachiketa realized he has to go through death to understand what does that mean, death crossing over. So why they teach this story first thing when you join a Veda Pathshala is because the moral of this story is to experience all of these things, to experience what exactly it means by Gam, Ganapataye Namaha. What are we talking about? It has to come through experience. So this will be the goal of this mantra cikitsa course also, is to invoke an experience. Because I can talk and talk all day about this, but the greatness of what was handed down by the rishis and what has been handed down to me by my gurus, who I'm very grateful for, is experience. It's not just philosophy, but actual experience of what these things are. So this is what we hope. I know we have 5 minutes. I think, Doctor, are there any questions?
Thank you, Panditji, for giving us such an enlightened presentation and a glimpse of the information and direct information and very transparent information for all of us about the vision of this knowledge, the sacredness of this knowledge, which is a very powerful than the physical level, how to touch the mind. Now we see in the whole world, people are suffering with the psychiatric problems more, psychological problems more than the physical problems. So in Ayurveda mentioned, samadosha samagnischa samadhatu malakriyaha prasanna atma indriya manaha swasta itya vidiyate. Physically, we are looking for all the investigations, lab tests, blood work, and EKG, ECG, MRI testings, CAT scans, chemotherapy, so many things we are doing. Beyond that, something is there, but still people are not surviving. Death is inevitable. Nobody is able to postpone the death. People are dying, but still the divine knowledge, prasanna atma indriya manaha, this is the thing, second stage of the life. That is the thing of a mind, healing the mind with the divine lost knowledge, with the Vedic scriptures which has explained, descended. It is not transcribed in the textbooks. We may have textbooks, encyclopedia. This is a oral tradition, has descended from the teacher to the students, father to the grandfather to the father, father to the children. This knowledge was there. This has to be taught directly and memorized and put into your nervous system, where it is having the auto healing system is happening. Like an auto car system, how you are driving car, auto system is the similar way, your body having a capacity to heal even the pain, suffering, cancer, diseases, anything can heal. Beyond that, and finally we reach dharma, artha, kama, moksha. For that, for the ultimate aim is to bring this wisdom of treasure of knowledge and bring to you, impart into your body. That way you don't need to depend upon us. You can heal yourself. Self-healing quality. That is the thing we wanted to bring this knowledge. Not only self-healing quality, you are able to perform after the permission from the guru, teacher. You are allowed to practice on others and help them to demonstrate your capacity for that. There will be yama, niyamas are there, do's and don'ts, which will be purified. And the Panditji will be discussing all these things, do's and don'ts, the eligibility of the candidate, a trust, a belief, astha are all important. And those people are only taken to this program. Not like a medical school. This is not like an Ayurveda school. This is a Vedic school where only dedicated, devoted, disciplined students only will be taken into the selected candidates only can be taken. Not only for the monetary benefit only, but at the same time, we are going to test the Shishya Upanayana. Shishya Upanayana means first we identify the students, right student, and who is eligible to, either is a medical doctor or Ayurvedic doctor or a general public or anybody interested to have these courses can be taken to the part of this journey of healing the body. And at the same time, a practical training will be provided for in the ashram, where we are building a beautiful ashram, a sacred ashram, where you will be a part of that ashram. In that ashram, where you will be doing your seva, your service with mankind and helping the people more. Not only bowing your head to the stones or lingams and all the things, connecting to that energy to your body and mind and spirit and healing. Not only that, a temple, not like a temple going to pray and temple. It is a healing center. It is a spiritual center where you can heal yourself and at the same time bring the energy of others. Such a wonderful divine vision we have. That vision, we will bring it by fulfilling that vision. We wanted to fulfill that vision with all by means of you. Your sacred energy is required. And whether you are Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, anybody can join with us. Because Panditji is having a knowledge of Bible and Quran and all the different disciplines of other Vedic sciences. And he can able to bring the knowledge. Not only is a Hindu tradition like that, it can be a complementary, a integrative approach of knowledge. We are not converting here a Hinduism. We are not converting anybody into Muslim, or we are not converting anybody in Christianity. It is a Vedic science, Vedic knowledge, having a capacity to bring the healing power within you. Whether you are a Muslim or Hindu or Christian, you have a healing power. Like, as he mentioned that Jesus having a healing power, Allah having healing power, Lord Krishna, Buddha, all having a healing power. But we have our belief system, which we are born in that tradition, are born in that lineage of the Hindu culture or Muslim culture and all the cultures. But spirituality does not have any religious meaning. Religious meaning means here a righteous way to do the actions, do things. But can we say that the sun and moon are Hindu, Muslim, Christian? No, there's no. And when a doctor is doing surgery on the body, we don't see, even we have dissected the bodies. We don't have a Muslim body, Hindu body, Christian body. They bring the body, but we study only one anatomy, one physiology. There is no Hindu blood can be contaminated, can be given to Muslim person. RH factors and everything, we look into the rhesus factors and everything, we can look into that. We have blood groups are there, not based on your religion. So blood transfusion is happening, and when they're saving the person, there is no religion. This is the thing we created. We are creating the boundaries among us. For that, with this Vedic knowledge, Vedic wisdom, within you, we are enlivening, we are going to enliven your inner intelligence of your body, the healing power within you, and with this divine knowledge of Panditji, we are going to bring that Vedic wisdom, invoke your energy within you, and you are a custodian of this wonderful knowledge of Ayurveda and yoga, philosophy, and healing powers. And we would like to open for questions and answers session, even though it is extending our time, but definitely we'll have some questions. People are having some questions. I would like to take some of these questions. I will give these questions to, you can write these questions in chat box, and instead of interacting with Swamiji and Guruji, and the knowledge which was given, and the profound, yes, this is the profound knowledge and energy was there. I feel very thankful for the valuable transmission of ancient healing wisdom. Gracias. Thank you. Namaste. And we'll be able to ask questions. Yes, it's open for questions. Is it okay for one to include mantra cikitsa practice along with kriya practices? Swamiji, this is a question from the Lata Samal. Is it okay for one to include mantra cikitsa practice along with kriya practices?
Yes. Yes, it is. It is. I mean, I always say consult your guru if you have a guru in specifically for your kriya practice to consult. But yes, it is. It is okay. See, before, for example, I'll give you an example. Surya Namaskar. We do this in Yoga Asana, right? We have the sequence called Surya Namaskar. Surya Namaskar, actually, if you do it 12 times, you're supposed to repeat the 12 names of Surya before each cycle. Om Suryaya Namaha, Om Adityaya Namaha, Om Bhaskaraya Namaha, and then you perform the salutation because it's a namaskar. It's actually a salutation to Surya as the divine, the sun as the divine. So, who also represents the inner light within us. So, if you do it 108 times, there's 108 names for Surya. So in this way, mantra is additive to any existing kriya practice, any pranayama practice, any practice you're doing, it's additive. See, we talked about yantra, tantra, mantra. They're not mutually exclusive. They all work together. So yoga also works together. The practice of yoga also works together. In fact, what is Patanjali's first opening of the Yoga Sutras? Yoga chitta vritti nirodhana. This describes mantra also. Mantra also is chitta vritti nirodhana. So it's additive. No doubt it can be practiced. And just like any sadhana, if you choose a specific time of day and a specific place to practice it every day, whether it's just simple gum or Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, and you make it into a routine as a sadhana, it can be very, very, very powerful for sure.
Next, Swamiji, another question. Eileen Greenfield is asking, what is the astrological relevance to mantra?
Yes. So that's a very good question. So the foundation of astrology is we have the Navagrahas, right? We have the Navagrahas, which through the interaction of them, we find out different tendencies about people, right? In today's day and age, astrology is practiced as a predictive science in some cases. It's not intended to be. The original Vedic astrology is intended to be practiced as a way to devise different tendencies within which each being and how those affect our purusharthas, dharmartha, kama, moksha, as doctor said before. It's intended to reveal how our tendencies as individuals, conscious and subconscious tendencies that come perhaps even from lifetimes before or maybe from ancestors, but how they influence our pursuit of dharmartha, kama, moksha. So mantras can be very effective both as remedies to help relieve or affect certain tendencies that may need to be affected in order to better live as full selves. They're also used in worship of the Navagrahas, because what we say in astrology is the Navagrahas are the ones who reveal or distribute our karmas to us, right? There's a science in which the Navagrahas are attached to the Navadwaras in the human body. Surya, Chandra, Brihaspati, Buddha, Angaraka, Shukra, right? Shanaishchara, Rahu, Ketu. We have 9 openings in the body to which each of the Navagrahas attaches the karmas as they distribute them over a lifetime to us. So by the reverence to these Navagrahas, which can be used through mantra, we can worship each one of these Navagrahas through mantra. Om Hrim Suryaya Namaha. Om Shrim Chandraya Namaha. Like this, we have a bija and a mantra for each of the Navagrahas. And in fact, as part of Sandhya Vandanam, we do this every day. Those who practice Sandhya Vandanam, they do Tarpanam to the Navagrahas every morning. We worship those Navagrahas to be benevolent distributors of our karmas over a lifetime. Rather than doing it in a way that's detrimental to us, do it in a way that is beneficial to us over our lifetime. That's what we pray for. So it can be, mantra can be very effective both as reverence to the Navagrahas, the deities of astrology, as well as to affect certain tendencies which are there in the birth chart, which we may want to resolve. Yeah.
So next question, Sangeeta Sai. Hi Guru, can women perform Surya Namaskara?
Yes, women can also perform Surya Namaskar. Pregnant women should be probably careful on that, but women can also perform Surya Namaskar. Yes.
Good. Next question by Dr. Raj Bharadwaj. She's an osteopathic doctor. Question is, some of my friends in the West have said they are afraid of yogic chanting even for Om because they have been told that gods will come in and take over your body. There's an idea that yoga is anti-Christ. Can you speak to this? How can we represent this accurately? So I would like to give something, Dr. Raj. So if you look into that, a Google search, NASA has recorded the sound of sun resembles like if you go and look into the Google chanting, then NASA recorded the National Space Aeronautical Center. NASA has selected like that, the chanting exactly similar like, that means the whole world is reverberating to the Om chanting. Om, Whether you hide it or not, it is there, it is vibrating in your body. So that is the one thing you can share with them. Now Panditji will give the answer for this direct question from the Vedic perspective.
Yes, yes. So I'll start off by saying in the way they're interpreted in the West, all the faiths, Christian faith, Judaic faith, and Islamic faith, are somewhat misinterpreted or have been pared down to sort of be very minimal and not inclusive of the entire tradition as it existed in the time, for example, that Christ was there. There's a very good book written by Paramahamsa Yogananda about, I forget the name of it, but it's about the Sermon on the Mount, and Christ basically shows Christ as a yogi, because Christ, Yeshua, was also a yogi. He was a very advanced yogic practitioner. We have traditions in Islam, the Sufi tradition, which practices very advanced methods of pranayama. They use that same mantra, La ilaha illallah, as pranayama. La, you breathe in with La ilaha, breathe out. Illallah, breathe back in. Allahu, breathe back out. They have a repetition of pranayama which they use in this mantra. This is why the dervishes in the Sufi tradition were called, or sometimes in English called howling dervishes, because when you breathe like that, it sounds like you're howling. So all of these traditions actually are based on the same truths, on the same yogic truths. I know some people say Antichrist and you become possessed and all these things. That's a misinterpretation. That's a misunderstanding of what happens when you practice these things. See, we're already possessed. People are afraid of being possessed or whatever. We're already possessed. Possessed by what? Greed, lust, the 7 deadly sins, as they say, no, pride. We're already possessed by these things mostly. So there's no fear that you'll be possessed or you'll, the gods will take over or Antichrist or something. No, that's not true. See, we, like I said before, the Vedic system reveres all of creation as divine. So people think Hinduism in the West is explained like we have hundreds of thousands of gods. Actually, it's not true. We have only one. The Vedas, there's only one divine. It says everything is one. There's only, like I said before, ekam sat vipraha bahuda vadanti. There's only one divine. It manifests through all of creation. That's why we have these different divine forms. That's why we have Vishnu and Shiva and Brahma and Devi and Ganapati. And you can choose whichever form you best connect with. We have the concept of Ishtadaivata, right? Which is the form which I personally best connect with. It may be Murga, it may be Ganapati, it may be Lakshmi. But the divine is only one. We have these different forms that manifest through the different aspects of creation, the sun and the moon, the sky, the air, the earth, the fire, the water, but they're all the same thread. Even in the Bible, actually, in one of the books of wisdom, it talks about the divine thread, which is sewn through the entire universe. This is the same Vedic philosophy. The divine thread holds the tapestry of the entire universe together. And we see it manifesting in myriad ways.
Thank you, Swamiji. Next question is that from Dr. Andrika Kondeti. She's an Ayurvedic doctor, and she is going to ask you that significance of 108.
Yeah. So Dr. Shekhar, you can also answer this maybe from an Ayurvedic perspective, but from an astrological perspective, we have 27 nakshatras. Okay. Nakshatras are the stars which rule the skies. So each of us has a birth star. For example, if you're in South India, especially, everybody is aware of their birth star. My birth star in this body is Vishaka. So each one of those 27 nakshatras is broken down into 4 quarters, 4 padas. 4 times 27 becomes 108. So when you chant 108 times, you're covering the entire cosmos, essentially, is what it is. You're in covering, you're covering the entire, it's like you're offering, whether, let's say you're doing Ganapati Chant, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, you're offering Ganapati to each piece of the cosmos, the entire cosmos. Yeah, doctor, do you want to add to that?
From the West Ayurvedic perspective, there are Saptottaram Marma Shatam. That means 107 Marma points are explained in Ayurveda according to Sushruta. Sushruta is a surgical expert. He is able to identify the 107 Marma points. Whereas Charaka is a scholarly and divine person. He considered as 108th Marma point as a conscious Marma, which is connecting to all the different 107 Marma points, which is anatomically and physically and psychologically and emotionally is connected to that 108th Marma point. So once you are taken care 107 Marma points, automatically this is enlivened 108th Marma point, the mind Marma point, automatically relaxed. The patient will start to talking to you. I feel my energy is flowing. I feel more, my pain has gone. I feel lighter. I feel my problems are resolved. All these things are happening from the conscious level, how the person is perceiving and getting. So this is the one way of looking into that 108 having an importance of the health and healing. The next question comes. Tulsi Ringwala, Namaste, Neelkantji and Shekhar, Dr. Shekhar, thank you for sharing such a wonderful, beautiful teachings today. So encompassing multiple faiths and beautiful Aramic chanting. And what lineage of teachers did you study under? If I may ask, thank you, Pranam.
Yes, thank you, Pranam. Namaskar. Yeah, I've been graced with wonderful gurus over my lifetime, this lifetime. I'm just eternally grateful to them. Nothing is possible without them for me. Whatever I am is, whatever good is there is a manifestation of what they have imbibed from within. My first guru, which I had, I had some spiritual experiences when I was younger, teenage years. The first guru I had, he doesn't actually teach. He doesn't have a mud. He's a family man. He's actually does a job and has kids and all that. But he was very, very instrumental to me understanding the depth of sort of certain experiences that I was having and how to contextualize them. And he taught me how to better connect with the divine, not even through any elaborate process, but just through faith and concentration. Then I was blessed with meeting one Swamiji named Gananath Amritananda Swamiji. He's there in near Richmond, Virginia. I lived right next to him actually for almost 10 years, 8-9 years. He is the one who taught me a lot about mantra, a lot about Vedas, a lot about puja and yagya. All that I've learned from him, as well as obviously those are somewhat surface level things, but the deeper things as well about how to distinguish between ego and self. Where is the line there? Because as you go deeper, especially it can become tricky. The ego, almost as subtle as the divine is within, almost as subtle is the ego also. So it gets, as you go deeper, it gets tricky which one to pay attention to. So he was very instrumental in me in understanding that, as well as the karmic laws. So I'm very grateful to them, and the other gurus who I've met, probably spend less time with. These are the two I spend the most time with, actual time, but very grateful to them for blessing me with their presence.
Great. The information is posted on chat box also, that the NASA.gov has given some chanting of this, the Om chanting also is available there. And at the same time, Tulsi has mentioned that you are very impressive teachers. You must have learned from you have such a broad understanding. I believe there is a book by Paramahamsa Yogananda you are referring to called A Second Coming to Christ, the Second Coming of Christ. Resurrection of the Christ within you. That may be the book you are referring to that.
Yeah, that must be the one I was referring to. Yeah. Thank you.
So Dr. Hetal is a podiatrist, and she is explaining that I am enjoying the session. So much information I never knew about it. Thank you very much, Dr. Shekhar and Neil ji. And Dr. Jaya Daptidar from Connecticut, Ayurvedic doctor. And thank you, Dr. Shekhar, for organizing the profound information on Sunday morning. Thank you so much for Pandit ji. Neil, your voice itself is soothing. Thank you. So thank you all of you for the due respect. And
there's one, sorry, doctor, there's one question here which I think she messaged directly to me. Eileen Greenfield, is recitation of Sukta like Sri Sukta the same as mantra? I understand that this is found at the end of the Rig Veda, but I've not seen it there. Yeah, so I mentioned Suktams before. Suktams are also longer mantra. Suktam literally translates to hymn or hymn of praise, like how we have Psalms in the Bible, same thing, similar thing is Sukta. Sri Sukta is a Sukta specifically to Lakshmi, the goddess, the Devi as Lakshmi. It is found in the Rig Veda. It's found from the Kilam of the Rig Veda. So we'll get into that maybe in the course, but the different suktas are pulled from different parts of the Veda. The Vedas have four different parts: Samhita, Aranyaka, Brahmana, Upanishad, and suktams are pulled from different parts of those. So if you look in the Rig Veda Kilam, Rig Veda has a part which is called the Kilam. That's where the Sri Suktam comes. That's where that compilation of verses comes from. Sometimes they don't appear in the Veda in the same order that they do in the Sukta. The Sukta may have been pulled from different parts specifically for worship. But anyway, we'll get into that maybe in the course. We can talk more about that.
Great. So last question is here from the Bobby Sira. Do you think there is a reason why mantra cikitsa has been left out of Ayurveda study? As you know that, Bobby, I can give an answer for this question. As you know, Ayurveda was emerged in India. Colonization and British rule and various cultures has embedded into this knowledge. This knowledge of Ayurveda is the thousands of millennia of the time was invented or created. Brahma Smutta Ayusho Vedam iti Ayurveda. Brahma has memorized this knowledge. A millennia, we don't know the date. A lot of people, they ask that, okay, when is the Ayurveda was originated? 5,000 years, 10,000 years, 20,000 years? No. Answer is very simple. When the nature started, Ayurveda started. When the nature started, Ayurveda started. So similar way, this knowledge was there, as we mentioned that, as we memorize these things like that, people can remember. Ekasantagraha means one time they listen, they can remember everything. Now, after now, we have to tell 100 times, still we don't remember. 1,000 times we tell, we don't remember. Our memory has gone down. The scriptures of knowledge of 1 lakh slokas, 100,000 slokas of Charaka Samhita I have mentioned, we are not able to remember. We are minimizing, compromising, and concising smallest way of learning, and even the dosha, vikruti, prakriti, and everything we are not able to completely understand. So that is the reason this mantra cikitsa was not completely tied into the medical schools in Ayurveda present situation. This has bifurcated into in the temples where the priests are performing, and when you are having some problem is there, what you do, even though you have suffering with cancer, breast cancer, decided, or some incurable diseases like that, even the medical doctors and allopathic doctors, Ayurvedic doctors, and any doctors cannot able to heal you. The next second thought comes, go to the temple and priest and surrender to him and doing some yajnas and pujas and mantras and chantings and everything, then people believe that they started to heal themselves like that. The miracles can happen. So these miracles changes can bring it. What we are trying to do it here, we are not insulting any system of healing. We are incorporating or integrating the healing method of mantra cikitsa to the knowledge, to you, and that way you can handle yourself by simply chanting of meditation, recitations, and day-to-day problems such as insomnia, depression, anxiety, worry, loneliness, frustrations, anger, and suicidal tendencies. These are all these things can be lead to various psychological mental problems and depend upon the drugs, medications, and psychiatrists and psychotherapists, and family relationships also breaking up and leading to divorces and everything happening. This mantra cikitsa and yantra cikitsa and all the tantra cikitsa, this can help them to unite them together like a glue, a gorilla glue, like that. It will bring that gorilla glue knowledge and it will tie to you a families together, and you will be respecting of a woman to women, men, and all the lesbians, gay, and all the irrespective of any things like that. We are looking into the connecting together in a divine soul. That is our goal. So when this course is happening, we'll be structuring this program. As soon as we structure this program, we'll inform to you, and structured program will be there. The affordable prices will be there, and that way the amount of the partial money will be used for the ashram establishment and the growth of the ashram and everything. And also, yes, mantra has been taken out of the Hatha Yoga too. I think it is due to trying to assimilate the mainstream. There is a way, there is a time when doing colonization, you are not allowed to do such practices in order to distance us from the other root, our roots. And that's true. That is exactly Dr. Raj is mentioned like that way. And this is an understood statement, and everything we know as we are grown up in India, we know that with the people who are living in abroad and they may not know colonization and everything is happening there. And we lost the knowledge, but still there is an agada cikitsa, like an visha cikitsa is clearly mentioned in the Kerala, they practice the snake poison, the poisonous substances, how to ameliorate by the mantra cikitsa and everything. And even my great grandparents and everybody, they also remember that the mantra cikitsa, they do certain mantras and chanting and everything. And Maharshi Mahesh Yogi, Transcendental Meditation Guru, has invented that program called Maharshi Vedic Vibration Technology, which has a profound effect on these things. I have witnessed a lot of cases with incurable diseases can be cured by performing of mantra cikitsa and yajna cikitsas and everything. Nowadays, people who are performing this marriages and horoscopes reading and everything, astrological changes, they are looking for that also. It helps them to do some yogas and yajnas. And we have a wonderful ashram is here in Pennsylvania, Arsha Vidya Gurukulam. There they do wonderful pujas and performing of the yajnas and homas and everything. And if you are interested to do further connecting, we will be connecting some of the activities through that. We have wonderful programs and homas, yajnas we do. And thank you very much, all of you. And where will be the ashram? Ashram will be planting together and working on that. We are putting a seed in that in the Central Valley in Pennsylvania. That means near Allentown, Bethlehem, and Easton. This is the Central Valley area. There's a beautiful area where we will be practicing this type of things. So when we'll be teaching this in-person lectures, whenever the COVID, they declare that CDC declare that no more COVID, then we will definitely start doing like that. We don't want to have one person suffering with COVID enter into our buildings and creating the problems. So that's more than enough. I don't want you to put 14 days of quarantine time, all of you. So that is the reason this is the best way to teach you. And when you come now also, you will be masked. I cannot see your mouth. Whether you are laughing or crying or sad or impressed like that, I don't want to see that way. This is the best way to see your faces, beautiful faces, not covered with your faces, with the mask. And this is the best way to do it. And we will work on that. This is the in-person. This is the thing also, Dr. Hetal, you are thinking about the technology has changed. You don't need to touch, hug the people and everything, contaminate yourself. This is the new lesson has taught us COVID. We are thankful to the COVID, not to say like that. Thankful to the COVID for bringing this wisdom of knowledge and everything. We are able to do more than 200 webinars conducting like that. Forget about that traffic jams and spending a lot of gas and everything, time wasting and everything. This is the best way to learn. You are able to learn a lot of knowledge and wisdom and everything. We are not here. Even if you come here also, we are not going to hug you anymore. Thank you. So that is done. And even if you come to us also, we are not going to feed you food, because we will give a box for you and you have to take home and eat it. So that means that limitations has gone, now spread out into the COVID situation. I'm not scaring you, all of you, but at the same time, this COVID has taught a wonderful lesson for all of us. And limiting yourself and centering yourself, going inside, not external, because we reach to the materialistic world and outward going and drama we are created. Now that has a lesson started 2019, and this lesson will continue forever. And we have to go into the deeper inside and learning meditation. You can do your homa. We will give you all the yajna, homa, yantras and everything like that, information to you, what to buy, where to buy, how to do perform and everything. Panditji will be giving a wonderful knowledge for that, and either CDs and everything, something in future we'll work on that, creating some nice knowledge and everything. Nothing is secret. We will be sharing with you, all of you, this information. You will be able to do all the performance. They don't think about that I'm a female, I'm a male, only male allowed to do it. Pandit is a male, like that. No, even women also can do it. Lesbians can do it. Gay also can do it. No things, Christians, Muslims, and African Americans, anybody can do it. This knowledge is not like only Hindu traditional knowledge. It is for everybody, whoever having a head on the neck. Those are eligible to join in this program. You who doesn't have a head, they don't need to come and join with us. Thank you very much, all of you, for such a wonderful knowledge and everything. And thank you for Panditji. Please bless us last recitation from your side.
Yeah, sure. Om Shatavanam Bhavati Shatayo Purusha Shatendriya Ayushevendriye Praditishtate.
Thank you, one and all.
Thank you.